In John's Gospel, Jesus has 7 different times where he uses that I am. As you heard last week, he was, I am the Good Shepherd. And this week you hear, I am the true vine. This one comes in the middle of what is called the Last Supper discourse. Jesus has washed the feet of his disciples, and then he goes into this long talk, his final little teaching to them before he gets arrested and crucified. So it's his final comments. But this one strikes scholars a little bit odd, because right before this, he has finished a long little presentation, and then he says, "Get up, let us go, let's be on our way." And then he says this, "I am the true vine." I think, what? Why did he say, "Get up, let us go"? So some scholars speculate that they actually left the upper room at that point before he says, "I am the true vine," and they were walking over to the Mount of Olives. And as they were walking over to the Mount of Olives, they went by the west gate of the temple where most people would have gone in to get into the temple precincts. And that west gate was decorated with an image of a grapevine, that it went all around the doorway. It was there because it is an Old Testament symbol. It's used over and over again in the Old Testament for Israel. Israel is the vine that God took from Egypt and planted there in Palestine to grow. And over again in the Psalms, Israel is referred to as the vine. So Jesus is looking at that vine imagery, some scholars think, as he's walking with his disciples, talking then with them. As he looks at that, he says, knowing that that's what Israel thinks it is, "I am the true vine." Not the country of Israel, but Jesus himself. That he is the vine. He takes it and switches it so that the disciples who he's talking to will understand that it's no longer simply about belonging to this people of Israel. It is about belonging to the person of Jesus. That's, the vine has shifted here. The scholars also say that it's a challenging Greek word that he uses about more than a dozen times in that passage. And it's not a word that fits really well. So our translators translated remain. Remain in me. Remain, remain, remain. He uses it. Some translations will say abide. Abide in me, abide in me. Others will say live in me. It's a struggle because it's the same word all the way through, but it's used differently each time, and it's the word in Greek that would be describing where you live. So if somebody asked you, where do you live, that to describe your house, the place where you stay, that's the word you would use. So you think, well, how does that fit with a vine? This is where I stay. But it's the Greek word that's used. So somehow it's being used to say, this is where you live. You live in the vine of Jesus. That's where life comes from, and as he describes it in today's gospel, that's where you bear fruit. It comes there by living in Jesus. And it's very easy, obvious imagery. If you cut something off from a vine and you don't put it in water, what does it do? It dies. And that's the imagery Jesus wants you and I to understand. If we cut ourselves off from Jesus, if we're no longer a part of living with him, we will die. We will shrivel up and die, and then as he says, we just get thrown out. You get burned up. That's what branches happen to them after they've shriveled up and died. So if we truly want to bear fruit, to have life, then we have to stay attached, live in Jesus. I know we may not like getting pruned, because he's recommending that today. Well, the Father is going to prune you so that you'll bear even more fruit. You think, well, what does that mean? But he tells you and I, if we've been listening to his word, we're already pruned. Because if we've been listening to it, then we've cut off those things that don't matter. All the stuff that Jesus doesn't want in our life, get rid of it. It's a waste of time. So get rid of those sinful things that keep us from knowing Jesus, so that we can bear fruit. So how do you know you're bearing fruit? I often hear that in spiritual direction or from people. They think, Father, I think I really could do more. I need to bear more fruit. There needs to be some clear evidence that I'm connected to Jesus. There should be something happening. I say, well, but if you read the rest of Scripture, here's the fruit. Are you joyful? Are you loving? Are you patient? Are you gentle? Are you generous? Those are the things that are the fruit of the Spirit. It isn't how many people you converted to Jesus. It wasn't how big a church building you built. None of those things. It's the individual encounters you have with other people. And as you walk away from them, do they say, wow, that was just an amazing encounter. In that person, I saw true joy. I felt God's gentleness, patience, love, forgiveness. Those are the fruits that Jesus wants for you. And if those are flowing through you, God will put people in your path who need it. You don't have to go anywhere. They will come to you. Just offer them that presence of Jesus that you are living in, because his life flows through you. And you know that. And then they too will experience that same kind of life, because you brought that fruit to them.